Hola, we are back with Monday. Every time I think it's Monday, I think, oh, good God, it's Monday. And it's me and Casey. Me and Casey are here for another reality check. Check your privilege.
Hello, everybody.
I'll tell you how I told Casey I was going to start out the show. I was going to start it out with, and everybody laughed at us and mocked us and said, "Oh, nothing bad's going to happen," until she turned up pregnant. We're going to talk about this article that came out. If anybody has seen it, or if y'all have not seen it, about the female inmate that was, hang on, let me share the article. Just welcome to our world. Oh, by the way, hello, everybody out there. Sorry, I'm a little off kilter. I forgot to eat. I had a little headache for like the last hour. Figured out, it could be because I haven't ate nothing. So I just downed the ham and grilled cheese. So I'm a little off. But hello, everyone. Hello, here. Oh, let me turn off my volume or I'm going to reverb on Casey's ear. That ain't nice to do. But here's the article. Female inmate pregnant after being forced to share prison with biological men claiming to be transgender. You notice how the word claiming to be, because remember, this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. You know what prison is full of? It's full of honest, kind people that have integrity, that are, they're not ever going to lie to you to get their way. It's prison. What do you think prison is full of? The best people out here that we have to offer. They wouldn't lie to you to get certain perks. That's what blows my mind anyway. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. It's not the person that got impregnated, I don't feel really thought that the transgender woman with the penis that came after her wasn't sexually interested.
Well, just to be honest, I don't know what else to be on this stuff. I think that's why I ran it by her with reality check, because I'm a pretty blunt person. People can attest to that, even in the background. I'm not a really good person at bullshitting. I don't like, people will say for me to do something a certain way. Like my sister used to be like, well, just be nicer. And then, you can convince people. And I was like, I call that gaslight. Manipulate folks. I don't want to manipulate anybody. I'm going to fling out the facts or what I perceive to be the facts or the evidence that I have, that let people make up their own minds. I don't want to coerce anyone into feeling a certain way because I don't know, I smooth talk. So what pisses me off is that you have all these people that act like, women need to be paid the same, and they need to be the CEOs, and there aren't enough women directors, and all this bullshit. But it doesn't matter. But women in prison, we'll throw in some dudes in with you. They claim they're chicks. It doesn't matter. What would they charged of in the male, before they were incarcerated in the male prison? Oh, sexual assault. Oh, curious. When did they decide they were a woman? Oh, shoot. Look. Oops, my bleed back was coming. But, so like it blows my mind that it's like protect women here or act like women are the victims over here. But if they get raped by someone that's transgender, tell them to sit down and shut the hell up. Oh, that's my point. What do you think, Casey?
I mean, not much else to think about it besides, like, it seems like it's just set up perfectly for this to happen. Because I was going through and like reading about what it takes in order to like be considered, the opposite gender enough to like wind up in a women's prison whenever you have a penis. And it really is, in California, at least in that area, it really is just like during intake, you say, if you say that you feel you're a woman, that's just where they're going to put you. And it doesn't, like, it really does seem like it's systematically set up so that it's really easy for somebody who just wants to be surrounded by women to say that they're a woman. It's not like, unless someone can correct me, I just can't figure out what the criteria is.
Well, let's set the stage for them. Since you're the better reader, I will let you read this if you want to. We're going to set the stage. We got this, then we got a great little like phone call that we're going to listen to. It's actually out of California. So Casey found a really good little clip. So Casey, you want to read some of this?
Sure. The female inmate in California is now pregnant after women's prisons were forced to accept biological male prisoners claiming to be women without any questions asked. The Blaze reported that a liberal women's organization, Women's Liberation Front, has reported that at least one woman has become pregnant following California's law that allows men to identify as women and get sent to a women's prison, even if they were in prison for violence against women. As the Daily Wire reported last month, California began handing out condoms and Plan B to female inmates who were forced to accept sharing a prison with biological men claiming to be transgender.
Okay, I want to take a pause right there. If you don't mind, will you please reread that sentence again? I want this to be absorbed into people's minds. Just, if you don't mind, will you please just reread that and you can keep going and I'll shut up. Just reread that part.
Sure can. As the Daily Wire reported last month, California began handing out condoms and Plan B to female inmates who were forced to accept sharing a prison with biological men claiming to be transgender. At the time,
you know what I mean? Like condoms and Plan B in a women's prison, but transgender women are women. What are they going? Go ahead. People get it. It makes absolute sense. Go ahead.
Yep. At the time, the WOLF released a statement about what was being handed out in prisons. Women incarcerated in California's largest women's prison are describing the conditions as a nightmare's worst nightmare after the introduction of new pregnancy resources in the Central California Women's Facility medical clinics. The new resources are a tacit admission by officials that women should expect to be raped when housed in prison with men, where all sex is considered non-consensual by default within the system. New posters recently appeared in medical rooms outlining the options available to pregnant people in prison, including prenatal care, abortion, and adoption. The poster also declares that women have the right to contraceptive counseling and your choice of birth control methods by a licensed healthcare provider within 60 to 180 days prior to the scheduled release date. However, the only methods available to incarcerated women to prevent pregnancy are condoms, which appeared shortly after the men, and Plan B emergency contraceptives. The law requiring women's prisons to accept biologically male prisoners went into effect in January. The Los Angeles Times reported that since then, around 300 male prisoners filed requests to transfer with the state, and only 20 have been processed so far. One inmate. Oh, sure.
I just want to say one thing. It says the only methods available to incarcerated women to prevent pregnancy are condoms. This is what they're doing to the English language, and I don't know, sane people is they're literally pushing this stuff down your throat and trying to make all those words in one sentence make sense. We're giving women condoms to prevent their pregnancy from other women. Go ahead. Sorry. If you have a penis, you're a man. Okay, that said it. There you go.
Okay. One inmate, according to WOLF, said, "How do we feel safe in our community? When we reach out for help, we get nothing. There has been assault on women and we are still we are silenced. Does anyone care that we are being forced to house with 6'2", 250 plus pound men with penises that are here for brutally raping women?" the female inmate added. "We have been warned by the officials in this prison. More are coming with worse charges. Where is the safety concern for us? If we say we are in fear, we are the ones locked up." WOLF tweeted last week that seven different people inside CCWF have said at least one woman, possibly more, is now pregnant after being housed with a male felon who was transferred to the women's prison under the new law. And then the tweet says, when,
Yeah.
did you want me to read that?
Yeah, you go ahead. And I didn't even know that this was another article, post millennial. So, but yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, that was different. I see. Well, the tweet says, when will at Scott Wiener and at Gavin Newsom admit that this was a mistake? How many more women need to be raped in California prisons by men who should have never been there? How many babies born to incarcerated mothers before you hear their cries?
Mm-hmm. And if you want to, since we're kind of right there and this has ties into it, I can play that audio you found of that woman's phone call. Does that sound good to you? Okay, so I'm gonna right now what you're gonna hear. You want to set this up, Casey, since you found it?
Sure. It's just a video that I found the Liberation Fund, the WOLF. They posted this video of a phone call that they had with one of the inmates at this prison discussing this bill to allow the men in the women's prison.
Yeah, and I'll play this for you now. I'll turn it all the way up for you guys as loud as I can get it. And it might, again, it's a phone call, so I apologize. The audio quality is probably not going to be the best, but here we go.
The sad part is when we come to our staff members and we say, what do we do? We're fearful. We don't want to live with them. Not all of them, but the few that are manipulating, what's going to happen if they try to abuse us and our roommates don't want to get involved? And I think the most heartbreaking part about this is the people who are going to be left here. I don't know about you, but that's my heart, and that's the most important thing to me. I'm going to be leaving soon, but there's still people that I love who are going to stay here, who I've watched fight for their freedom, fight to get home to their kids, put in these commutations and have been ignored time and time and time again. Go to these interviews and don't get a follow-up, don't get a nothing. And so they're the ones here, like...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Who are fighting to make a difference here in the prisons, not just for herself, but for the new youth that are coming into this prison, and this is going to be their new normal. And it's just heartbreaking because the response she gets, the response I get, the response our peers get is, oh, you know how to scrap, you know how to fight, defend yourself. Oh, you guys stand together. Let's stand together and have a sit out. You don't think it's going to be, you think she's really going to sit out when she has kids to go home to, when she's fighting for her freedom? You think she's going to get up and fight when there's just so much conflict, and this is just the surface. There's people we love here. There's been plenty of people who have even, my close friends who have told me, Michelle, if something happens to you, just tell me and I'll do whatever I have to. Like, that's heartbreaking that these women who have worked diligently to change their behavior, to really rehabilitate, to teach their population, feel this internal struggle because with everything they have, we want to defend each other, and yet you can't, and yet you're helpless, and yet you're that victim again and again and again, and their voices are being unheard, and it's heartbreaking. And this new bill is really, the saddest part is that no one really knows what goes on here, not just because they're coming to this prison, but because of how all the loopholes in this law that allow so many.
Hey, Casey, will you hit your mute button real quick? It sounds like you are throwing around a body.
Oh, no, I think that's actually in the...
Oh, okay. I thought that was you. I was like, oh my God, what is she doing? You know, piss her off. What have you done?
I'm muted anyway, so you can... I think that's in the actual video.
Okay, thanks. So I thought it was you. Sorry, because you're lit up green. You're green when the microphone picks something up. Okay, I'll keep going.
Yeah, here you go.
To manipulate the system and get here, and that's our fear. If we don't mind having those who trans women who really live like that, who really care for us like we do about each other, but we have an issue when they're making statements such as, oh, we're just taking over and you guys got to get over it. And they're coming into our communities and they're affecting the people that we love, the people who are fighting so hard to get out of here. It's heartbreaking, and I wish that there was more people coming in here to really see the truth. And the truth is that no one can help us. Even jokingly, we'll ask our staff, like, what's going to happen? They're like, well, we're just going to have to make a lot of noise at night when we walk by, just in case something does happen, because we don't want to be involved, because that's a lawsuit. And how do you think that we feel? We do not feel safe knowing you're scared of a lawsuit. We do not feel safe that you're going to put them in our rooms because you're afraid they'll claim discrimination, when all along the discrimination has been against us. This is not conducive to rehabilitation. This does not help women who are genuinely fighting every day to be that positive pillar in this community. To want to make them want to struggle and change, to feel like I have to defend myself again in a place where has been my safety, in a place where has been my incubator and has raised me and has taught me everything I need to know, and I'm trying to give that back. And there's just this sense of hopelessness because it's slipping between our fingers. The more and more we watch the people with that transgenders with that specific mentality of, oh, we're going to come dominate and take over these women and their body language and the way they walk around here, the more we...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Hopelessness is really consuming this prison, and so it's just heartbreaking, and I can't leave here and not speak about it, and I won't leave here without speaking about it, and I won't stop speaking about it even out there. And so I just want to thank you. I know it said 60 seconds.
Wow. I mean, she said it all, and I think it's important that, you know, people hear it right from the mouth of people that are experiencing it, that are living it. And I saw one excerpt, I can't remember where, maybe it was something else that you shared, where they said, you don't understand, these are 6'5", 250-pound men, you know, that they're coming in here that they're saying that they're, you know, that we're living with, you know, that are fully intact men.
Yeah, and she even like specified that these aren't like men that have been living like a female lifestyle for years and years. Like she even said that she would be accepting, you know, of that sort of person. But she's saying that it's the people that are just men with male urges wanting to surround themselves with women. And these...
Well, I mean, listen, you're a woman and I'm a woman, and I'm sure there's some women out there. I don't know how many of us have ever gone on to our social media and took a picture of us flexing our muscles. I don't know how it's possible. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not showing my bicep, you know, but this is another story about a woman in Canada prison, terrified of violent trans prisoner. This was back from January. Heather Mason, former Canadian federal prisoner and advocate for women in prison, tweeted that numerous women in the Grand Valley Institution for Women are contacting her to express their fears over a violent male prisoner housed with them. The prisoner, Wayne Bruce Stavka, who currently goes by the name Angela Valentino, petitioned for years to be transferred to a women's prison. In March of 92, Kingston Wang's Standard reported on Stavka's grievances for not allowing prisoners to have makeup at the men's prison, noted that Mr. Stavka would rather be at the prison for women, but he doubts any judge or jury would understand his predicament. At some point after this, Stavka, who by this point preferred to be called Angela, landed in the Sault Ste. Marie jail for an armed robbery, according to a June 1997 article. By 2005, Stavka assumed the name Angela Valentino and was coming to the end of a 15-year sentence for armed robbery. According to a May 2005 Kingston Standard story, Valentino had spent the previous 9 years in Bath Institution, a medium security prison for men, being ineligible at the time for placement in the women's prison due to still having male genitalia. The Whig Standard article stated that Valentino's lawyers was trying to negotiate an agreement to either send Valentino to a minimum security for a female institution, allowing for a sex change operation. Guess who that would be on? He's not paying for it, but they'd be on the Canadian free people's dime. However, the journalist noted that Valentino's release is complicated by our abysmal record of violating every release she has ever granted. Well, let me say that again. Noted that Valentino's release is complicated by her abysmal record of violating every release she has ever been granted. God help us. It says Women Are Human contacted Heather Mason for further details on Valentino's subsequent prison history. Mason stated that at some point between 2018 and 2019, Valentino was placed at the Edmonton Institute for Women, where another male prisoner, Steve Mekalakambakar, known as Sam, was incarcerated as a woman, was also serving time. Prior to being transferred to GVI, the women who contacted Mason told her that Valentino bragged of having beaten up Mellenbacher for being a rapist while at Edmonton prison, and for this reason could not be placed at GVI while Mellenbacher was still there. Prior to being moved to GVI, Valentino was at the Joliet Institute for Women. It just goes on. I think it goes on about his history.
That was in Canada, you said?
Yeah. I was trying to. He was shooting women up. Women. Heather Mason. The women at GVI are reporting that they are triggered and scared to leave their houses or for the women who live with Angela, they don't want to leave their room. It's been reported that Angela has choked a woman on compound and CSC moved A to another house. A was shooting women up with fentanyl and was so high they could stand up for count. Guards didn't make A stand up for the count. A left a raw bloody chicken outside the door, and the guards came and questioned the woman about it and said it meant someone was getting stabbed. According to Mason, Valentino has undergone sex reassignment surgery. This provides no reassurance to the women forced to deal with Valentino's violent behavior and further threats of brutality. That's another thing that no one wants to talk about. Give me a break if you don't think that that men are stronger than women. Men are stronger than women. Woman getting into a fight in prison with another woman is different than a woman getting into a fight with a biological male.
Oh, yeah.
It just is what it is. It just goes on and on and on. I put this one, I think this is one you had. This is when you shared the women in prison complain about transgender women getting a full erection.
Oh, no, I don't think I shared that one. Or if I did, I don't remember. I had a very busy past few weeks, so who knows if I shared something and totally spaced out on it.
I pulled up quite a few articles. If you see it from the top, look at my thing. It's always full. And this changes all the time, guys. It's the same last one you saw last time. Trust me, I've got stuff all the time. But
full erection. Yeah. How do you even say woman at that point? That is like we can at least be clear with our language.
Well, see, it says they are scared to afraid to make a complaint because it'll hold it against them. I'm assuming it's because of political correctness. They say that the guards get upset if a report is made. I don't think it's because they just don't care. It's because they raise a stink. They could find themselves in trouble. Many women are arming themselves because of the huge transgender women and whether they need to be afraid or not, they are. It is really fair. Is it really fair to them to have to room with someone who could possibly rape them? Again, it may not be a real danger, but just the fact that they are scared seems like a good enough reason to room the transgenders together in the same cell. Perhaps they're afraid they would engage in some sexual acts, maybe not. I'm telling you. See, they spoke to Abigail Shriver. She's the one that wrote that irreversible damage book. I have it. And it was immediately Amazon tried to take that crap down and hide that book. She went around and interviewed all kinds of people about this transgender movement craze. If you don't know anything about the Tavistock Institute, I have a lot of stuff on that where, the number is increased by 4,000-fold over the people that are now saying they're transgender. But it says they're getting a full erection. So you're locked in this room 24/7 with a man, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you tell the police you don't want to live with the man, you are afraid or whatever, you'll get a disciplinary infraction. So you're basically punished for being scared. And then it says they're not separate inmates. They do not separate inmates by severity of their crimes. She said that the transgender woman could be a murderer and they could be placed in a cell with someone who was caught shoplifting. Remember we had that conversation the other day with that lady, with the woman that was worked in prisons. That's what I mean by prisons are different.
Oh yeah, so many of them are different. That was Ellie Mayslayer. She knew a lot about Like, it sounded like the prison where she worked was really like well organized and productive, and maybe like really proactive. Whereas some of these other ones, I'm noticing like the one in Canada, like that one man was like fighting for a long time to get into the women's prison. So it seems like there's some sort of system there that does like at least try to sort it out differently. But the one specifically in California that the first article we read, it not only did it seem could I not find any requirements or criteria that they needed to meet to be able to like switch to a different jail, but also on the one thing I sent, let me remember which one it was. I had sent you earlier today. It was probably about the Prison Rape Elimination Act reports, or the transgender handout, the prisonlaw.com transgender handout. It had talked about like it was for transgender people and explaining what would happen to them if they feel that they're being harassed or if they're actually sexually harassed. And that's just like so they make it very accommodating for them. Like, we will help you. Like, if you even feel like you're being misgendered, we need to help you. And it's like, well, what about the people who are just getting harassed? Like, and it has nothing to do with them being trans. What about everyone who gets harassed? Like, what is the punishment for just assaulting another person while in a prison? Why is it different for transgender people?
Again, the part of it that you have to be clinically flipping insane in my mind. Oh, thanks, Wang dang doodle. Wang dang doodle. The thing that bothers me is, again, holding these two truths simultaneously in your head. To have some people that tweet about the Me Too movement over and over and get, act like there's have some kind of a seniority over other people because they're self-righteous and they're woke and progressive and Me Too and believe all women, and they were the ones beating down the door at the Kavanaugh hearing and shit like that, are the same people that are out here being like, people should be able to choose which prison they want to go into by the gender that they choose. And then hearing all these women cry out saying this isn't right. I am sorry. Women are different than men. These are the facts. Every man and every freaking woman knows it. This is why people are not going to be gaslit by this shit anymore. Okay? Men don't give a damn. You walk into a man's locker room, as long as they ain't dropping the soap and you ain't staring too long, you glance over, shit happens, you look, and they're going to look at you like you got a problem. Men don't care, though. They'll get naked and damn sit there and share in front of people as long as they don't do anything improper. Men don't care. Women don't even like getting naked in front of other women. That's just the truth. Most women are self-conscious. They're embarrassed. I don't know. Most women are that way. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But most women are like, I don't even get naked in front of my own sister. Like, I don't know how to explain it any more than that. Like, when you're freaking confined into a small space and you look over and there's a wang dang doodle staring at you, you're going to be like, what the hell are you supposed to do with that? You're in prison. Guess what happens in prison? In male prisons, especially. You really think a male's going to be able to keep his urges to himself because he's identifying as Angie now and not not Anthony? And I'm in total agreement with you. It's somebody that has been a transgender for a long time, and they've had the surgeries, and they completely identify as have acted as a woman for years. Yes, there may be an argument for that. Went and had breast augmentations. I mean, literally, they're living like a woman, but not these cases of like that whole case that happened the other day with the spa. I think it was in California, where the woman was there with her 6-year-old daughter, and there was a spa owned by some Koreans, and she got in there with her daughter, butt ass naked, and a transgender woman walks in there fully intact, balls and pecker are swinging, and goes and hops in this tub, slings his leg over it. And she says it's all hanging out for her 6-year-old daughter to see. 6-year-old, fully intact male. And she said it's the sense of entitlement. Now they're walking around like, you better deal with it, or you're a racist, or you're a homophobic, or you know what I mean? It's like, no. So many people are pumping the brakes. The left has fallen off the damn cliff. And now that they're finding the bodies at the bottom, they're like, oh, this might not have been a good idea. I thought all these people were going to be sweet and we could hug it out. They wouldn't try to hurt us. Yeah, until they do. And I'm telling you, then you have to weigh the body mass of a male against a woman. It's not a competition. You can take the weakest, like scrawniest guy and put him up against the butchest chick. And 9 times out of 10, the guy's still going to be able to whoop her ass because they're faster. I don't know. Oh, you go ahead, Casey. Go pull up some of your stuff. I've ranted enough.
But I'm in full agreement with you. Men are bigger. Like, we're just different. That's the reason why there is a difference in men and women's prisons in the first place. Like, there was a reason why we don't have just all like co-ed prisons. But I'm wondering if that is what like the future will turn into if we keep on pushing this. Like, because how are you even going to tell the difference anymore anyways between a men and women's prison whenever there's penises and vaginas housed in both?
Yeah, I know. And let's see, SGT Peterson said, I can control my urges, but I'm 50. I would never do that. Well, yeah, but you probably won't never be in prison. And if you were, you'd probably go to the male prison and you wouldn't lie and say, I'm transgender. I need to be put over there with the women. You know what I mean? Like that's the issue. Like, these people are not honest folks. You know, it's not like most people that walk on the streets that are law-abiding citizens that go to prison. They're in prison for breaking the law. And there are people out here lying in the streets of the free world. But you somehow think when they get behind prison walls, they're going to be honest and not try and abuse the system. They do it every day with drugs and commissary and gambling. They don't freaking care. Women are, then she said, let's see, Anne Marie said these women are damned by their government. They are, but then again, you have them all out here hashtagging Me Too, or, listen to all women and all that other shit until they don't. There's no consistency whatsoever in their message. That's why they do the low blows and the insults. That's why they do the racist and the homophobe and the bigot and all these other labels they'll give you, because they know they don't have the argument. So they go for the personal attacks.
Yeah.
Because you cannot hold those two things. Care about women and women's safety, and have a whole shit ton of women coming out being like, this ain't cool. You need to shut this shit down. And then people be like, no, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. They've created a citizenry of fear. People are feared to talk about their political views. They're afraid to talk about how they think you should be raising your kid. They're afraid to confront the school about critical race. They're not anymore, thankfully. That's blown up in their face. But, they've created a society where you can't talk about science. You can't talk about a vaccine that's experimental when people talk about side effects. Oh, shut your damn mouth. We don't want to hear about your side effects because we want everybody to take it. Yes, we know it's experimental. I don't give a damn. It's nuts. But it's an attack on all these areas. It's not just like even with this one. It's literally now you have women sitting in a prison that feel like, because remember there's one toilet in a cell, and all these women typically have, one toilet per cell that you have to share. Could you imagine standing over and looking at your cellmate? They're standing to pee.
No. Here, I want to share this. I'm looking through that transgender handout. It's like it's this letter that sums up what they do for like transgender people in that prison where the pregnant lady was.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me pull this up. Just because I didn't get a chance to read through the whole entire thing. Let me get share screen. But why doesn't it want? Okay. But like speaking of just like conflicting information, and so this is a letter, like I said, describing issues facing transgender people in California prison. And as far as my very limited search has shown me so far, I don't see like the common issues just facing everyone in this California prison. They have to care specifically about transgender people. But threats of violence, this is what I wanted to go to, page. So if you're a transgender person, this is how comfortable they feel the need to make you. And I can see why there's like this pressure, or you can kind of get the feeling that there is a lot of pressure to not offend anyone, a transgender person, because of whatever's going on. But unfortunately, transgender people can be at a higher risk, according to this document, of physical and sexual violence in CDCR compared to the general prison population. Transgender people often write to us about current safety concerns and or about past assaults. And then it states that we're supposed to protect our prisoners. But so what should a transgender person do if they feel threatened or unsafe? It is important to report to staff if you receive threats or feel unsafe. Report in writing. Oh, sorry, I want to get to the one part. Basically, whenever I was reading through this, I was looking through it. I'm like, man, they really like went out of their way to make transgender people feel comfortable and safe and accommodated in jail. But nowhere, whenever I search, do I find like what's the punishment if you're a transgender person or just a person who sexually assaults people in prison. Like, why is there so much literature about making the prisoners feel accommodated based on their gender and how they identify? It just doesn't matter, especially if you don't. Sorry, I'm ranting right now. Let me find the spot.
It's all good. I mean, I think there's a lot more deep-seated stuff going on. I think this is like what they always do. You know, when you say bullying the frog, I think this is a turn up in the temperature. I think they have a goal. This is just a step to reach that goal, and I think it has a lot more to do with maps than this. You know what maps are?
Wait, sorry, what?
So, do you know what maps are? MAPS.
I mean,
minor attracted persons.
Oh, there's a name for it.
Yeah, they tried to push it about 4 years ago, and that's why I've got a series scheduled. It's been difficult for me to know what to share, when to share it. It's some dark stuff, but I had somebody out in the Foxhole chat the other day that I mean, they were trolling. They were said some derogatory things to people in chat. I could put up with that shit. But like the point being of how evil these people are, the things we're not talking about, we've kind of gotten away from that subject matter. But in all reality, I think this is where it's going. You know, all people have the right to have their sexual identity, and let's make up 75,000 genders, and you know, listen to your 18-year-old kid because they know more about life than you do. Let them set policy. Let them dictate how colleges should be run. And, you know, we're living in freaking cuckoo world. We got people walking around. I could show you, God dang, I could show you some videos before we leave today of what the shit going on in Portland. And it looks like psychosis central. Okay. I mean, it's nuts. People taking baths in shitty fountains. You know, I mean, freaking gross. But what it ends at is what they've been trying to do for years, and that's justify their sick attraction to children. But we can keep going with this. I mean, I do think that's the end goal here. So.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I got a 2-hour documentary. People that think, I don't know about other places, but people think here, if I show like a video or documentary that's been done, I'm just like taking information and just rebooting it up. I'm telling you, I've poured hundreds, I would say thousands. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to lie to anybody. Hundreds of hours studying this stuff and researching it and trying to get down the bottom, find the best pieces of information, documentaries, following people. There's one that's 2 hours long that I would have to exclusively show it on Foxhole because it's that disturbing. And I'm not lying. I've even made up a thing of the, do not let your children watch this, a little thing to put in front of it because it's disturbing. But I'm not the kind of person that thinks it's okay to stick your head in the sand and ignore it. These children don't have the ability to ignore it. They live it. They're the ones that are being, hurt and abused. So as adults, I understand if you have that in your history, it's not something you need to watch, and I would recommend that my damn self. But to me, allowing women to get raped in prison is just a stepping stone to allowing children to, in foster homes. Which they have. I mean, they called that whole thing in Germany.
Oh, because that's where the kids would wind up because most people aren't going to want to keep. I see what you're getting at there because they would wind up in the farm. Huh?
What's that? Okay, yeah, look exactly. They're not yet offering these women any kind of birth control. They have them a plan B. But how you have to do that immediately after having sex. So these women will have sex. They're not going to do plan B. They're going to be like, oh, I'm not pregnant. Blah, 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 blah. Now, what do you think's going to happen to these kids? What do you think's going to happen to, like, what's coming over the southern border right now? Why do you think that they're throwing kids over the wall? Why do you think those 4 killed children are found in the middle of the damn field in Texas? What do you think those kids are? Those kids are coming into America with zero documentation. So no birth certificates, no social security cards. No way to track them if they go missing. That right there is a cash crop coming over the southern border. That's why you have all the Madonnas of the world singing, la, 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 the so fucking happy, I get my kid today. Oh, yeah, that's why they're all back high-fiving each other, having 700-person Obama parties. Remember, he's the one that got $60,000 worth of hot dogs sent to the White House. Who the fuck orders $60,000 worth of hot dogs for the president? Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm off on the track. But see, I really think that if we don't, it's like CRT. If we don't pump the brakes on this shit, like literally, because to me, this is the end goal of this.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I get it. Sometimes it's hard to draw those connections, but yeah, whenever you think about it, if you're just targeting children and just trying to ruin as many lives before people can think to themselves, you would be setting up a scenario where children are produced out of rape or like sick situations like could happen in the prison systems.
They've been breeding kids. They've been breeding kids. Do you remember that? And again, people can feel how they want to about Alex Jones. I don't, but he did that clip where he went to that church. So they do it under the guise of, oh, it's these great people because it's a church. There's a church of Satan too. Spare me your church moniker out in front of your building. Does not mean it's a good establishment. They can be child trafficking just like, Sally's, child farm down the road. Okay. Church don't mean shit to me as far as, because that's what they do. They did it with Laura Silsby's when she was trying to kidnap those kids from Haiti. And then guess where she's at? She changed her last name to Galen, and now she works for fucking Amber Alert. The lady trying to snatch and steal people's kids now works for the government establishment that is supposed to alert you over missing children. How damn ironic can you be? So this is what they do, though. They go under this guy's now church. Anyway, Alex Jones's video showed them getting off the bus. Every damn one of those women were like 8-9 months pregnant. I don't know how many of those women walked off that bus ready to pop a kid out.
Whoa.
Now you can make another argument. I don't cornhole nobody. You can make the argument that some of those women came here because that's an anchor baby, right? They came here to anchor that baby because that baby will be considered American citizen. There's that argument. But I will continue to preach to people. every single person that came over that southern border had to pay the MS-13 at the very least $3,500. At the least, it cost them about $16,500 if they want to get to Houston. Okay, so I'm being very fair. At the very least, saying it's $3,500, which I know is wrong. 1 million people have been caught by the Border Patrol. Now imagine it's another million people that haven't. That's just being fair. So far, Biden has made the MS-13, the very lowest figure you could probably pull is $4 billion just so far this year. $4 billion. The Mexicans have to pay MS-13 just like the Haitians have to pay MS-13. Every single one of them has had to pay MS-13. They're so sophisticated, they put plastic wristbands around them like you get when you go to the fair now. So they herd them like cattle. I'm not making this shit up. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, sorry. See, you want to talk about tangents, I could go. I've just researched this shit to death, and that's why I got involved, is these kids. What happens to these kids? I'm getting older. We're all getting older. We're all fighting. The election is important. Yes. The Border Patrol, for I've just mentioned you reasons why some people probably don't think about. I'm sure some do. There's that. Yes, there's other stuff going on in the world with China, with the vaccine stuff. All that's, yes, important. But to me, the reason I got involved and have done as much as I have in the background, and even with this channel and with the soapbox, is because I know what they do to a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's something you can't ignore, like once you learn about it and then you see the signs of it.
It changes you. It definitely changes you. I mean, it does, because you see, I've witnessed some things that I wouldn't want anybody to witness. I'd never show y'all, ever show the people listening, or you, ever. Because those are images you can't burn out of your head, but I know they happen. That's probably why I'm so passionate about it.
Well, of course, you can't take in that sort of information without doing something with it. You'll go insane.
Yeah.
You have to have an outlet for that sort of thing, for some sort of change.
And there's really great people doing some really great work, like Operation Railroad, Underground Railroad. Mm-hmm. He's a good guy. He was in the military. He saves kids a lot. He's adopted 2 of them. You don't know of him. He's done some really great work. But, to me, that should be a huge focus. I think we should take $20 billion of the damn military fund, because do you think all that money's actually going to, the military? Please. They're funding their sickness with that shit. But, it is what it is. I think that should go to building orphanages and, rehabilitation centers for these children that are mistreated. And, sorry, but while these people are off work, give them a high-paying job to go help find some kids and arrest them. I don't think pedophiles should be arrested. I think they should be castrated, killed, and I think they should be castrated first, because I think killing them outright is too nice. I think they should suffer some. Anybody that would hurt a child, I don't think should be walking the face of this earth. People can debate with me all day long. I get it, if they want to, but that's one of the crimes I think you commit. We don't need you. Girl, get back up here. Start sharing. I'll shut up. You share. Get back on your thing.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Well, it's not that.
You go ahead. I'm gonna shut up.
There was nothing in particular that I had ready to go. So I didn't have. But oh shoot! You just said something that had me thinking. No, I don't remember what it is. I was tying this all back together. Because for a while. Or it took me a really long time for me to care, I guess that's the right word, or get emotionally worked up about any news regarding transgender people, just because I didn't associate it with this big systemic thing that was putting children in danger. I just thought of it as well, that's what some people choose to do, and that really has nothing to do with me.
Can you imagine a prison system that was having unwanted children in prison? Can you imagine somebody that has a life sentence in prison that gets pregnant? What are they going to do with that kid?
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of what I wanted to say. That. Why? So if you're already, you've caused enough damage in the real world that you had to be put in jail. If you from that point are sexually assaulting someone, why aren't you just put down immediately? Like, that's what I don't like. You stop it by just stopping it. Whenever you get to the point that you're in jail, like, I don't know. I just feel like that should just be, not that I just want to see people dying left or right, but like, if you're caught in the act of sexually assaulting somebody, you're already in that situation. I don't see why that people, according to this document that I have up, like, your victims just like file paperwork because they're upset that they were assaulted. It's not like, I mean, I guess in this it was saying that people are carrying weapons on them to defend themselves in these prisons, but so I don't even know what happens. Do they get to kill the person who's raping them? Like, what then happens to them if they do?
Well, if you have a second, you'll stop share. I'll show you something that led
Yeah.
me down this road. We'll talk about this today. If you're typically, it's always been known to everybody out there that if you are found in a male prison, if you enter a male prison and you have a charge of child molestation, rape, any kind of rape, usually even when it comes to women, but especially if you hurt children, you had better watch your ass in a male prison because you are target number one. And people don't understand it. And they preach about love and no racist and no, don't segregate and all this other stuff out here in prison. That's all it is, segregating. You have your whites, you have your blacks, you have your Hispanics, and then depending on if you have like your fourth minority group, it depends on kind of wherever they trickle in. But if you go to a male, these sexual people that commit these sexual crimes go to male prison. I'll just show you some of the clips I brought up for tonight to just give you an idea of what happens to you if you go to a male prison. So this might be another reason why, like, oh yeah, let's get you into these women prisons if you identify as woman. What do you think a male predator to a child is going to do if he knows he's gotten caught and gets sent to prison? He's a guy. He's immediately going to say he's a transgender woman so he can be sent to a female prison so he doesn't have this happen to him.
A Charlotte County man facing 83 charges of crimes against children was found dead in his jail cell.
James Palmucci was arrested last month. He was accused of molesting children and having child porn on his phone.
NBC2's Shannon Clow reports from the Charlotte County Jail, where investigators found fabric wrapped around the 48-year-old inmate's neck.
He was murdered by other inmates.
Tell us what happened.
All right, I guess he decided to clear his conscience or something, but...
By the way, this is another story. This is the same story. This is a different jail, another guy.
He told me what he was in prison for, that he had, was accused of raping an 11-year-old girl, and he got 25 to life for it, and, I told him that's enough. I don't want to hear any more. I first, punched him a couple times. Still wouldn't shut up. Still kept telling me he wanted to explain that he didn't do it, that he was being set up and all this stuff. And I don't know, I just got mad and then hit him and then I killed him. When I hit him and knocked him out, and then I took the shoelaces out of his shoes, tied them together, wrapped it around his neck, and strangled him. Then after I was done, I was aware of what I was doing, and then I just put him on his bed and covered him up and climbed in my bed and went to sleep.
I noticed, we've been in your cell, that it appears that all of your belongings you
Packed up, yep.
Okay. When did you do that?
Right after I knew he was dead.
Right after you knew.
So,
And the reason for doing that would be?
because when you go to the hole, that's usually what the police do, to pack it up. And I figured, they're going to tear my shit up, so
Okay.
let me just do it myself.
So what happened to the shoelaces?
Flushed them down the toilet.
Oh, you flushed it down the toilet.
I don't know, obviously, I don't know, I just kind of,
Thought that was the appropriate thing to do at that time?
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, I know murdering somebody's not a good thing, but, Jesus, man, if the things this guy did, things he said he did, I wouldn't want someone like that on the street again.
So
I do what's necessary. I do what some people won't. You guys are cops. You arrest people all the time for stuff that you wish you could shoot them in the face. I already know that. I'm not stupid.
I understand.
There's crimes that shouldn't be committed. So you know, I just have, I don't know, I just don't have any empathy for people, so.
So basically,
Well, here he is at his sentencing. I think this is the next one I have. Yep. Here he is at his, the same guy. This is the same guy.
You know, since this all happened, it's kind of been, people think I'm some kind of hero, well, I'm actually not. I just, you know, did what I thought was best in the time that I was given. I don't know, I just, I've been getting these emails saying that, you know, it's not my position to judge anybody. And I want to make it quite clear that I didn't judge him. You know, I know God is the only judge we have. I've just set the appointment up. So I don't feel bad for what I did, you know. I feel bad for maybe the families, his family or something. But as far as remorse towards him, no.
I thought that was pretty amazing. He said, I just set the appointment up. And then this is this guy. He was in prison.
It's sex charges, okay? Any kind of sexual assault charges, that is the worst charge you could possibly have when stepping foot into jail, prison, or just living out here in the free world, okay? That is the truth. Simple fact. Anything. It doesn't matter what kind of offense it is, okay? If it has anything on your paperwork pertaining to underage, sex, whatever the case is, any of that stuff. If you have a sex charge in jail, okay, it doesn't matter what it is. But this is something that I hope can reach a young man's eyes and ears, and he can learn from this story for real, because people don't understand what they're getting themselves into sometimes, okay? And I can guarantee that 80% of the people that watch this content, all the men out there, have done this particular act, all right? And you could very well be a sex offender. But check it out, okay? Check it out. There's all kinds of sex offenders, okay? Of course, the worst of the worst is someone that messes with little kids, okay? Like 5-year-olds or something like that. That's absolutely insane. I can't even comprehend how someone can do something like that. And of course, there's, you know, raping women. That's a guaranteed green light on you as soon as you walk into the penitentiary, and they know green light status. They are going to come get you. They might be fighting with each other to figure out who's going to get you first. That's just the laws of the jungle, okay? Child molesters, sex offenders, no matter what kind it is, okay? There's no room for talking or explaining your case. You're going to get it. Now,
Yeah, that was that one. I almost, but then I saw something that was concerning. This is the last one. It says this didn't make no prison counselors, but he was going.
I figured I would get the 10 myths, that the biggest ones that.
After one turned on PBS Kids, that's exactly what Jonathan said. After using the cane, he went to confess to the guard. So he told them that if they didn't remove this child molester out of his block, he was going to hurt him. He said then after one, I think he had a couple on his block. Then he said after one turned on PBS for Kids, that's exactly what Jonathan Watson did. They don't tolerate this shit in male prisons. After using a cane, he went to confess to the guards. That's when he said he came across a convicted child trafficker. I figured I'd do everyone a favor, Watson said. What are you laughing?
I'm just like, sorry, I'm just reacting to this.
After the second inmate, he went to find the guards to show them what he'd done. So, like, he knew what he did. These men are not dumb. He's like, oh, you're a dad, dude. And then he goes and gets the guard and said, yep, killed that guy. Wow, he was child molester. I mean, then I saw this guy. And of all places, I've told y'all about Baltimore. We all know about Baltimore. This guy said that the guards actually look out for him in Baltimore.
The guards look out.
I asked somebody like, hey, man, what's up with that? What's going on over like 3 times?
It froze for me again. I don't hear any audio.
Hola, can you hear me?
Now I can. Sorry, it just like cut out again as soon as it started for me.
That's weird. Well, okay, so anyway, I'll kind of go past him. He basically said that in Baltimore, they used to do stuff to them. whenever he was in prison. But then now, since things have changed, where it's actually like the guards and stuff look out for the pedos. Now, again, that's in Baltimore, so think about that.
Oh, they look.
I thought that was strange.
Ooh.
Huh?
As always, I have to go from like a dog trainer perspective. If I had a group of dogs that I'm managing, and there's a dog that's just messed up, like there's something neurologically wrong with it. It's, maybe aggressive or whatever. If one of my dogs feels the need to correct that dog for something that the new dog does that's out of line, like as long as it's an appropriate correction, I'll allow it. But from that point on, I don't go like, oh, I'm always going to let this dog do all the work for me. Like at some point, the leader has to step in and say like, no, I'm the one saying that this is how the rules are. I'm not going to make all these other dogs feel the need to defend themselves just because I brought in this new psychological mess. And that's what's happening with these jails is the inmates are the ones who are doing the work by stopping the pedophiles from being pedophiles. And that's messed up that there's like systems where the guards are, they don't want to get in trouble for reporting anyone, or they don't want to have to go through with the paperwork in some of these areas, not all of them, but and so now the other inmates have to like do that work. That's kind of literally letting the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah, it's when apparently they don't like me talking about that. So I knew that they wouldn't. It is what it is. Like when you start talking about the subject matter, it literally. It doesn't shock me at all. For them to buffer me or whatever. It just doesn't.
Oh,
but yeah,
content.
Yeah, it's whenever you talk about subjects like this, like it's amazing to me. You can say words like dick on YouTube. You can say things like, I'm telling you, you can get away with all kinds of shit. Like, and even gamers can get away with saying these certain words. But you'll immediately, if you have monetization, which we don't, so I'm not too worried about. But like on YouTube, you can't say stuff like rape or child molestation or anything like that on YouTube. They'll immediately flag you and demonetize you. Now imagine that it's not okay to talk about pedophiles. If that's another word, that'll immediately get you flagged, and call them out. Why would they? We've got these massive platforms that are protecting them. Or why else couldn't you say the word? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It blows my. But you can have dick and dildo on YouTube. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's so confusing to know. You're just
it makes no sense.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you have to deal with that.
It comes with the price of talking about kids. Even if you're just trying to highlight the atrocities. That's why I said, I'm telling you, that one video I have, I have several that kind of go into the deep dive of some of the stuff. Mouthy Buddha, I reached out to him the other day. Somebody I really respect that's covered a lot of this work. Basically, he's been deplatformed off everything because of it. And I was like, I need to start cycling, the word back around so people don't forget that there are kids we're talking about. That's why they're so happy now. And feel this is what I tell people. There's a reason why they never really talked about 17 for 3 years. You had a couple outlets like would write an article about it, or Rachel Maddow might said some stupid shit about it. And then after he left and Trump got out of office, it was Biden. Notice now all the hit pieces about 17. I'm talking about 17. So So now all the hit pieces and everybody smearing them, HBO documentaries and 60 Minute Australia documentaries about it. Look at all the shit that has now come out and been said about it because now he's missing. The reason why they wouldn't talk about it when it was actually happening is because they were scared to damn death. Because there were so many people speaking the truth and exposing how sick the people were. I think that's why Madonna did that whole video where she's in that bathtub with the roses and said that, listen, she was trying to act like she was talking about Rona, but she was like, no, if one of us go down, we're all going down, and looked up at the camera then you had someone like Matthew McConaughey tweet out, "Look, we're all in this," and then it's a picture of witness room. They're all in the witness room. Because I think for him, because he's had an established family for years, married that lady a long time ago. I think she was like a waitress or something. She might have been a model. I don't know. But the witness room. If they weren't engaged in it, I'm sure they witnessed it, just like everybody knew about Epstein, including NBC News. Just like everybody knew about Weinstein, and none of them said a damn word. Because it was just the norm around there. You just dealt with the sick assholes.
And it's because everybody
scary.
gets slowly conditioned that people get away with it.
Well, it's because the people that are there, it's like it's at the very head of the snake, and then the head of the snake influences, everybody down the whole body of it till you get to the tail. And it's they work on this blackmail system where Epstein's black book, his black book was so important for them to get a hold of. Just like Anthony Weiner's laptop, we don't hear anything else about that. Reports I've heard several times that the things on that were so disgusting it made seasoned detectives throw up on the spot. But we don't hear anything else about that shit, do we? We don't hear anything else about old flipping Anthony Weiner's laptop. Why not? Why the hell not? I mean, it's like we did. I've not forgot about that. I mean, somebody messaged me the other day and was like, "Oh, Durham's report's supposed to come out." No, this was like I think they messaged me like 4 weeks ago. Durham's report's coming out next week, and I was like, "Listen, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but listen, and I hope it does, but I'll believe when I see it." And when it does come out, is anyone going to have charges put on them? Is anyone going to be arrested? I can tie it all back into our subject matter tonight with these women in prison screaming out for help because now they're putting 6'5", 250-pound transgender women with dick and balls in the damn jail cell with them. Got one girl had sex. Now she's freaking pregnant in prison. She's in a women's prison and somehow managed to get pregnant by a woman. Does that make any sense to any rational thinking mind? No, because he's a biological dude. Women can't get other women fucking pregnant. I mean, but we're living in a time, people, where apparently what was that trending 2 weeks ago? The transgender woman, God, I can't keep fucking up. The transgender woman had a baby, and they were trying to breastfeed the baby with and the person laying on the bed that was trying to breastfeed had a full beard and chest hair.
No.
And we got Britney Spears in a conservatorship for 13 years because she shaved her head off. But we can have gay pride where people are dressed up like dogs and being led around by leashes. And this lady can do 4 tours in Las Vegas and 6 music tours across the world. But she has to have her dad tell her how she can spend her millions. But a lady can fucking marry a train station in New York. We are living in La La Land. No, she got pregnant by a transgender woman. Hip to the clip, to the dip, to the flip. She got pregnant by a transgender woman inmate because California is now letting if you identify as a woman with dick and balls, then you can go into the women's prison and get other women pregnant. That's why I said we're living in a world where women can get women pregnant. And I'm not going to live in that damn world. I'm going to live over on my island. We're going to name it Reality. Like, just name the show Reality Check. Yeah, it's nuts. I'm telling you. It's nuts. That's why we say if I was God, I'd be pissed. I pray all the time. Y'all might not like me. That's why I say to God. Because God always said after the flood of Noah that he would never do that again on earth. That he wouldn't, to do like a cleansing like that ever on earth again. And I've prayed to him several times. So that God, listen, you're God. You can change the rules. We got a lot of evil shit going on down here. We could use a helping hand. You're God. You can bend the rule. You can rewrite the rule book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's certain types of evil that you just want to be flooded into oblivion. You never want to see it again.
There's certain birthday parties you think a bomb might actually fall on would be a bad thing. 700 evil ass people just wiped out one fell swoop. Whoops. You know what I mean?
Oh man. What I'm just reflecting on this now that you're talking about it, because like as a kid who wasn't raised right, like, or wasn't raised like not a lot of family values, I guess, instilled in me because I wasn't in I don't know, like the traditional nuclear family. Like I used to have the perspective of like, I thought it was kind of funny whenever people would get like all freaked out about someone being gay or like someone being covered in tattoos or like whatever. And I would always just be like, man, why are people so uptight all the time? And like now, as you learn more and you're like, oh, well, the problem isn't necessarily that someone's gay, but under the name of this LGBTQ whatever machine that exists now, like pedophilia is going to sneak its way in. It's just, it really, you do eventually see the slippery slope. And I'm just thinking of all the people in my life who knew better that were probably so pissed off by me and how naive I was. Oh dear.
Yeah, I'll try to find trying to find that one thing I had pulled for something else. Yeah, I mean that. Here we go. Now you've seen this story. I'm sure you've seen this story. I mean, I could just take you a tour down my tabs and it'd be mind blowing. Remember all the shit that came out about Nike and Lil Nas, and everybody was outraged on Twitter, and everybody's like, cancel Lil Nas, and they, oh my God, there's blood, and Nike's like, we didn't do that. We're gonna sue them and all that. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 3 months later, Converse, Satan shoes, get the next pair. While they're trying to desensitize the population, well, we were outraged about Little Nas. We had our piece. They knew we didn't like it. So then Converse is going to come out with it. These companies are willing to take a loss in order to change the minds of the entire population to where now seeing something like this doesn't absolutely make people go burn the damn places down.
Man.
They're trying to normalize it.
Yeah, they really are. And doing like a somewhat good job, because like I said before, like there would have been a time where I would have, if you would have like come to me complaining about this stuff, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's just shoes, like who cares, it's literally just shoes. But from your perspective, it's like, no, it's a whole system of evil that is invading our lives bit by bit right in front of us.
I get into some really bad shit that will probably piss off. I mean, look, U.S. shamefully justified string of Canadian church burnings. You know, they're burning down churches in Canada. You know, putting down, we were children. They're all trying to blame it on whenever they were had put Native American kids in these schools to re-educate them. Well, that was 150 years ago, just like slavery. You know, they're attacking these churches for all this shit that happened years and years ago. You should never have done that. When they don't tell you the truth that, you know, it was a tiny fraction of these kids because they're trying to say they found mass graves when even the Native American, that the indigenous person says these are not mass graves. But, you know, so they're trying to normalize, you know, vandalizing and burning down churches. They're doing that shit here in America as well. They're doing that shit over in the UK, you know, trashing churches. Look what's being attacked. All you have to do is stand back. And collectively, I got so much stuff for them. Telling the Satan shoes. I'll show you this one thing, and again, I'm very careful about the stuff that I had all this pulled to kind of go over this one thing. See, I pull shit all the time, guys. Sometimes I don't go over most any of it because it's like I don't want to scare people, and I got to the point to where I'm sorry, I just don't care if I piss anybody off with content I share. I gotta be honest. About it. You know, with this 2,000-year-old satanic Torah they discovered in Turkey, where they pulled over this car and it had all these, so this Jewish Bible had all these satanic symbols in it, scrolls and shit. These are bloodletting devices, and some of the symbolism, like you tie it back to ancient Egypt. The only thing I will ever say for sure, the symbolism ties back to Egypt. And this is where I'm very careful about what I say, because this could just be somebody's drawing book. There's the blood letters of ancient drawing that they've done where they would stab. They were inside these scroll books, so they're there. But like, so stuff like this, I'm cautious because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, there's a lot of people be like, it's the Jews. And I'm like, listen, it's the same thing as saying it's the Catholics. Do Catholics priests do a lot of shitty things and horrible things to children? They did. Does that mean to me every Catholic is a bad person? No. Just like there's some Christians that I've done some horrible damn things to some, altar boys or whatever. Does that mean every Christian's a bad person? No. Just because some Jewish people have done some really bad shit, does that mean every Jewish person has done some bad things? No, I do not paint with these broad brushstrokes. I just won't do it. But there is the video where they've opened up some of these books. It's a long, in-depth story, and it was written in several places, so it's not just that one. This is actually a video of them pulling the car over and pulling the box out of the back. So I try to research stuff down to the roots from bring it up. And this is the next book I want to read, The Lilith's Caves, The Jewish Tales of the Supernatural. I'm really interested in reading that because it's a book that was written a long time ago about the Jewish people's like tales. And what people don't realize is, or maybe y'all probably all do, but these old, like the tales and supernatural stuff in some of these religious books will actually give you the key into what they really believe. They'll spin it as a tale, as a nighttime story, or it's the same thing that go along the lines of Christmas with Christians and what it really is. Most people in this movement or that have been around here long enough, they know what Christmas truly represents. It's a pagan holiday. Just like Easter is. There's a lot of evidence to say the 12 saints are actually 12 pagan gods. Like all this symbolism will ties a lot of the stuff back to Egyptian times. All of it does. So that's the one thing. I can't tell you if the Knights Templar were good or bad. There's so much conflicting information on that group of people. It's crazy. And because the people they protected were probably not really good people. But then again, just like us, we can be really good people living in the country and have a government that's trashy as fuck. So I'm very cautious. I try not to judge too quickly. But it's hard when you get into symbolism to figure out what is the truth and what are you being lied about. But I can almost unequivocally say 100% certainty that all these religions that they follow, the symbology you see with the one-eyed Horus, meaning the black eye that you see these people wear, the black and white checkered floor, so all that shit you can tie back to Egypt. And isn't it funny? It was the Egyptians that enslaved the Jewish and threw all their children and babies in the river. There's a story where we're told. So yeah, see how deep this shit goes, girl. See, we talking about prisons, and I'm over about throwing babies in the river. See what I'm saying? But there's just so much information. I do all this research and stuff. It makes your head. You can see the ties into all of it.
Oh yeah, you totally can. Like I'm just like at surface level with all of this, but there's like certain things that I don't know. There's just certain things that are undeniable, and you can't ignore. And you can't not research. Normally I'm in my happy place whenever I'm just at only paying attention to what's going on in front of me, kind of in my life or the life of my neighbors and family or whatever. But
when I say I'm in deep, I mean what Biden's text, what you could text Biden to, his whole campaign number, his text number with the year. 17 is the one that highlighted this. There's 2020, and there's the text 30330 for Biden. Look what it turns into.
Ew.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, but your family, what were you saying? I'm sorry. You lagged a little bit. I thought you were done, but I think right when I started speaking,
that's fine.
Family.
I guess and I've always tried to focus on just kind of staying positive and a functional member of society. And so watching politics and how much I've always distrusted the mainstream media from a young age is just really depressing, paying attention to any bit of news that was going on in the world. And so I always felt best whenever I was just paying attention to what I was choosing to pay attention to without the TV on and stuff. But even then, there just is no denying that there's something weird going on in the world, that there's some some like weird forces at work, some good, some bad, that are just making it's making it impossible for a person to just check out these days. It's like you really have to go out of your way to check out to not notice weird stuff going on. So it makes a lot of sense to me that people that are driven and know how to research that stuff do get as like just totally immersed as you are. And I can only imagine how your brain works to be able to process that information and the emotions that go along with it.
That's why, what do you think? I try to give hints. I constantly tell people to make sure that they, try to find things that make them laugh, right? Remember the joys in life, to find the things that are funny. Like I watch this guy on YouTube that streams video games named Cartoons. He's from North Carolina. He makes me laugh my ass off. Or Laura, I follow people and I'll consume some of that information, and then I'll just completely step back, and then I'll go to I just stumbled on this. Here's one. Like this shit I laugh, girl. Listen to this. This is hilarious.
Having one of those days, your mask just doesn't fit right. Your ears are flopped over. Things just aren't going your way. You're having a bad mask day. Then we've got just the solution for you. With our revolutionary new mask, you can say goodbye to lopsided masks, floppy ears, and foggy glasses. Watch this demonstration. Simply take this bandage and just wrap your entire fucking face. Hell, wrap your whole body like a mummy if you want to. Just leave enough room for a vaccine shot. With the mask wrap, you don't even need glasses. Oh, and don't forget, Dr. Fauci recommends you double wrap. Our call banks are standing by, so order now. And soon you can say no more bad mask days. Well, not that you know of.
If I could see, fucking hilarious shit like that. Like, it's got side effects. Damn, may include impeded eyesight, reduced hearing, respiratory issues, inability to breathe, inability to smell, mild suffocation, major suffocation, complete suffocation. And I do this in the real world. Okay. I try to practice what I preach. Today I had to go to the doctor. The doctor sitting in front of me. I didn't realize they had tried to do a mask mandates. I don't wear a mask anymore. So I'm sitting across from her. First time I've met this particular doctor, and she's like, "I'm just curious, why don't you have it on a mask?" And because she had on one of those little blue ones that do absolutely fucking nothing. She's like, "Why don't you have it on a mask?" And I said, "Because they don't fucking work." She's like, "Oh, they work." I said, "Really?" I said, "What do you think those big gaping holes on each side of your cheek and the two big ones you have on each side of your nose are doing for you?" And she just kind of looked at me dumbfounded, like no one had said this to her. And I said, "Yeah, exactly nothing. Exactly nothing." Well, I'm the clinical director here now, and I'm going to demand that we have them on. I was like, "I demand that I'm not suffering from damn stupidity." I said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you what I did with most people in your position." So both my sister and mother were nurses. I worked in the medical community most of my life. And I said, "I want you to take your brain that you have let everyone tell you what to think, and I want you to set it off to the side. I want you to take your medical thinking brain, the one that you went to college and learned how to read papers and, do your own research. I want you to put that one back in." And I said, "I'm going to bring you some information. All I want you to do is look at it critically." And she said, okay, well, fine. You bring it up here and I'll look at it. I was like, all right. You know what I did, girl? I immediately came home. I printed out a 41-page ebook about how masks do more harm than good. I freaking clipped that damn bitch together and I took it right back up to the office. I had a woman that works in the front. I've known her for a long time. She kind of laughed at me. She's like, "Oh, God, boy." And I handed it to her and I said, "There's for your doctor." I mean, you know what I mean?
I'm glad you
if I could wake up one's health professional from damn CNN world, I'll do it. She better read that bitch too, because I use my printer ink. 41 pages ain't, that's not a simple back and front back, bitch.
But you know what? I feel like those are the actions that really make changes. Whenever it's like, it's not like you had some agenda that you were just waiting to push on your doctor. It was just like, no, you recognized something in the moment that was incorrect. And instead of just freaking out or throwing a huge tantrum, you're just like, "No, I'm going to teach you how." You made it, you gave them the resources. This is for free. You take this, it's yours. I would
Well, I
learn
think
so much more from that than somebody just, I don't know, than lots of ways that people try to get attention nowadays or get their point across.
I will say that keep a really good resource like study. If you even keep an article that's got a lot of hyperlinks to it, go and print that bitch off 5 times, 10 times if you can, if you have the printer in, if you have that good. Guys, you know a lot of people in these communities. Most of you out there in the chat rooms and several ones. You know, when they post something, whether here or anywhere else, Breaking's about to come out with something massive. I don't even know how to explain this to you. This is what this dude does: is archive links. Okay, he's got everyone since the beginning of COVID until now. It's ridiculous. But whenever you find a really good article that's got hyperlinks and really sourced and has a study attached to it, especially if you find one that has a study. And I can, I have the ebook for the mask thing too. It's by that Dr. Vernon. I can't remember his last name. I sent it to her anyway. But keep a printout of that in your car and then print out the study behind it. Click the link, open the study. It's been accredited, whatever, peer review, whatever they fucking respect nowadays. And staple that together. And then when you run into somebody like that, be like, you know what, I got something for you. Don't take my word for it. All I ask that you do is just remove everything that you've been told to think. And just all I'm asking is for you to step back and think for yourself. And then the next time me and you come on, if you're down for it, I've got this video. I was going to share it with one of my other things. I think it would be a good one for me and you to go over because of our content we've been talking about. There's this video on mass psychosis, how an entire population becomes mentally ill. And maybe we can play that at the beginning of the show. It's 20 minutes long and then discuss it because I'll send it to you, Casey, so you can watch it. And I think that I was going to do it with my, the mass psychosis of this child, stuff and all that. But this would be a good one for, you to hear. I'll send it to you Telegram there. Good for you to watch and then we can discuss because that's kind of how you do it. And there's another article, guys. Let me find it. See, I have all this stuff pulled up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. What I mean by the amounts is a massive research. So again, when I say, I'm a smaller channel, so when you guys support us, I really do appreciate it because I don't get off here and then just go take my ass to bed or something. I'm constantly like, this is one of these organizations that were there to shut down and kick out these Republican voters. Like that's one storyline. There's the Succession Acts of the 13 Confederate States, things we signed back in 1861. I've been pushing my governor to do. That's the stuff about COVID. That's the deep rig. I was going to show it one night, but I didn't want to step on Pixel's toes. This is Manufacturing Consent. This is a book. I highly recommend. Probably some of you read it. This is, if you can't tell, this is on my list of shit to read. I have so many books right now I need to read. It's not even funny. This is the stuff I pulled for us tonight. Oh, this is Andrew Cuomo mocking about the Me Too stuff. Oh, there's the medication. I need to fast forward that. But if you caught that, not a bad one to have around. The deadly code. This is about the finders. I'm trying to tie in what the finders did with what they're doing now. If you don't know what the finders are, the deadly cult that worked for the CIA, the finders.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll send you a lot of stuff on that. But this is one Daddy Dragon told me about the flu antibodies. I'm trying to find that one thing. Let me spin through this just to show you how. I'm just doing this to show you how much STEM content. Oh, really? Okay. See, and I try to research one article. They even wrote about it in the damn Daily Savage too. So, find one so I can source the information. No, the police officers not. There's about the shadow government. Look, they even admitted what they did during that election. People forget about that article.
Oh, yeah, I remember that article.
Yeah, Barbs of War. This is about Nate Kane, an amazing interview. I was going to play it. Silence is contagious by then. Oh, this is about the mistaken identity of a Hawaiian man. They took him, incarcerated for 2 years. He pleaded with them. They had the wrong man. They just drugged him up even more, said he was lying. Come to find out, all they had to do was take a picture of the man they thought it was, hold it up next to his face, and they would have known they had the wrong man. He told them this for 2.5 years. They drugged him and held him into a mental ward. When they found out he'd been right all along, they handed him 50 cents and tried to secretly sweep him off in the street and act like they did nothing absolutely wrong. That's what happened to that man. This is about this jockey that was found in the UK. There's something very nefarious going on over in the UK with these kids. This dude did not hang himself. So that's about Obama. What did I do with that? Fine, say Missouri channel. Oh, that's about PETA's on my shit list right now. There it is. The Deepest Dark. That's what I'm going to play. I'm just going to show you this. Damn it. Well, who knows? All right, but that's the look into my life. I mean, it is a. I try to. Oh, here's my little thing I made for the mature audience still. But there it is. Is that it? Yes, this right here. I'll link this with you guys as well. Me and her maybe we'll go over it with that mass psychosis. This is an article called "The Art of Spiritual War," and it's talks a lot about Machiavelli's Niccolo Machiavelli's work, yeah, and how he used Christianity basically. What is it? Trying to tear down Christianity in order to kind of get what he wanted. Blah blah blah. It's a really good one. That one, guys, I can't. The American Mind, The Art of Spiritual War. I'll send it to you, and I think that ties into what we're talking about with these prisons, these women, this transgender stuff, all of it. It's boiling the damn frog. They've gotten. Think about it right now. What's going on in the world? They've gotten doctors, scientists, nurses, people in the medical field that have thinking minds that have been in immunology, and epidemiology, and virology for 2, 3, 4 decades that know this work, scared to say anything because they're drugged, they're attacked, they're bullied, they're stripped off social media, they're banned off YouTube, all for coming out and saying speaking the science on what's been going on in this country the last 2 years. That's just with that one. Now you have Olympics where we're putting in and men on Olympic teams with women. All the way down to prisons allowing men to go in prisons with women. And you have corporations scared to say stuff. You have parents scared to say stuff. The students scared to say stuff. The inmates scared to say stuff. The security guards scared to say stuff. The jailers scared to say things. All these people are scared to say things because what? Then they'll be labeled as a bigot or a transphobic or whatever nasty name and be bullied. So they're successfully right now. If we don't do something to stop this shit, it's only going to get worse. They are successfully trying to manage and figure out a way to make the people that's crying out about this and saying this is effing wrong, scared to say a damn word, or they're going to lose their job, or they're going to lose their livelihood, or whatever the case may be. And so they've got the people that are most qualified to say something about this shit sitting over in a corner shivering, not saying a fucking word. And that's when you're living in Hitler society, okay? That's when you're living in North fucking Korea. That's when you're living with Xi Jinping in China. That's what they accused Trump of being for 4 damn years, and yet Biden's managed to do it in 7 fucking months. And the media, oh, what a great guy! Oh my God. Okay, listen, he might not remember his middle name or what matches socks, but he's the greatest president ever. We're living in cuckoo land. You know, think about what they've managed to pull off, Casey.
Yeah, pull off a lot of things real fast as far as like watching from the dynamic of like watching Friends and what they used to be okay with or they used to be against, like the whole like just my body, my choice. And then whenever it comes to that with vaccines, and it's like, wow, that's crazy how fast everything changes. And just how people that I know and love and know who they are have become way more willing to just accept the weirdest things into their lives just because the government says they should.
Yeah, don't let me forget. Whenever we end today, I'm trying to find it. KB sent me. I think was it KB that sent it to me. Sent me a video of something flipping fucking disturbing today. This is just some of the shit I see, guys. It's so bad I cannot share it with you here. I could do it if I took everything down to just damn Foxhole, because I don't think Foxhole would censor me. That's the great thing about Foxhole, is that it is independent, completely independent, and you're not, silenced and shut up. It's horrifying. I'll just read you what's under the video. Warning: graphic content, absolutely despicable and wrong in so many ways. This is living hell. so-called aborted babies allegedly used for skin creams and other products for the rich and famous, but obviously these sick satanic evil devils and vampires are consuming these babies and using them for, we all know about renochrome. I'm still on YouTube, so be careful. This is why I do not support abortion. Prevention is better than cure. For more truth or raw knowledge, guidance, and wisdom, follow our Telegram, and it's a Telegram page. But above it is the video. You can imagine what I read of what is the, I don't know how many, maybe 24 children, babies, laying out on a table with on top of a green tarp, with a lady rubbing something on them. I don't know what she's rubbing on them, but these are fully formed. These are babies. These are not fetuses. These are babies. And so this is the shit that I do, that I don't expect any of you to do. It will affect you. It will. But I try to think of myself as a pretty strong person. I don't think I'd gotten this far with all the surgeries I've had and stuff if I wasn't capable of kind of at some point, not allowing too much to. It's bad. Okay, it's bad. And so why else would you have a table full of children like this laid out on the tarp, rubbing them down with some oil or lotion or whatever she's doing? And so many of them, if they weren't preparing them for something, she's washing them off with soap and water. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, that's
doesn't make any sense. Well, but there's videos around like this available. Where what is it? What are they doing? What is the reasoning for this? This is not for that. People that say that you're full of shit when you're talking about these subjects have never bothered to go look at what I'm looking at now, what I've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, they're not using babies and blah, blah, blah. Now, damn Sandra Bullock come out on fucking Ellen before she got fired for being a piece of shit and admitted on her stage, sitting across from her, that she put baby circumcised skin on her face, foreskin on her face for anti-aging cream. Now that's the shit.
Way she said that.
Yes, that's the shit they will admit to you on a network, on a damn network. That's just the shit they'll say to the public.
Wow.
We all got shit we don't want everybody to know. If they're going to say that, you don't think there's worse? What Kim Kardashian did, what they call the vampire facial or whatever, where she supposedly took her own blood or somebody's blood or whatever and rubbed it on her face to give herself a facial. They all do that shit. All these people will come out and say that young blood rejuvenates the skin. They tell you all this shit, these damn movies and crap. Where they give you truths in these movies about the shit that they do. I mean, that's how they get the information out. They believe in karma. That's why they believe in like Kabbalah. Most the red ribbon around the wrist. They believe in that shit. So they believe in karma. They believe the best way to get rid of that karma is to tell you what they're doing. They have to tell you what they're doing. Now, the shady shit that they do, the evil shit that they do, is they think that they tell you what you're doing, but they'll plant it in a Simpson cartoon, or they'll put it in some sci-fi movie somewhere, so that people can blow it off as, oh, that's just a movie. That's just a movie. But in their mind, it's so we gave them the hint. We put it in that movie 2012, or I'll give you this, guys. If you've not seen that movie with Tom Hanks, Angels and versus Demons, I think it's what Angels versus Demons in a long time. Go rewatch that movie. Go rewatch that movie.
I never saw that movie, but I read the book. I don't know how similar they are. I forgot about it, though. I have to reread it. I have it on my shelf.
I hope so, Sadie. I hope so. Oh, talking to you too. I hope so, Sadie. I'm telling you right now, I told God, I have prayed to God many, many times. I was like, God, when this shit hits the fan, you had better look down at me and say, she's not a Joe, but she is a Michael. Okay, because all I have studied with this shit, the video I just talked about a while ago, the things I've told you I would never share on this platform or to anybody. Because listen, I can tell what's happening without being that damn graphic. But I have seen too damn much to be a forgiving person with these people. I've seen too much. So they needs to make me judgment angel, because I'm not going to be all forgiving with people that hurt the kids. It needs to be make a soldier of Michael or something. Because I'm going to take a staff right through their damn penis. You know what I mean? No Golden Gate for you, Chucky. I just can't do it. I can't. I can't. I've seen too much. Put me over the ones that have hurt the kids, and then allow me to do with what I think should be done with them. And then, you send all the forgiving people, like my sister, the sweet one out of the two of us. Oh, but it's okay. I know you didn't mean to run over my little girl's, 6-week-old puppy, even though you weren't paying attention and we screamed at you that he was there. It's okay. I'm that bitch that'll go out there and drag your ass out of the car and tell whoever take the little girl inside, I beat your ass in the front yard, running over her dog. Got a spite, because you don't like it. Well, you know what I mean. I'm that asshole. I'm that asshole that'll go down there and beat somebody up for bullying my niece. I'm not one of those people that'll be like, oh, we'll talk it out. Like, no, I'll try to talk to you. I'll try to work it out. But I'm also not living in a fantasy world that sometimes people just need an ass whooping. You know what I mean?
I can't disagree with you there. Yeah, because you can't just allow evil shit to happen. I mean, not everything's within your control, but if you see something going on in front of you, you have to do something about it. Or you're just bullying everyone
I'll give you examples so people don't lose my train of thought here. People that deserve an ass whooping, at the very minimum, ass whooping. When you see someone pick up an 8-week-old puppy and punt it across the yard.
Yeah.
When you see somebody with a piece of wood beating their child, not whipping their child, beating their child. When you see a parent who leave their newborn baby in a car sitting out in the parking lot while they run into Kroger for half an hour in 95-degree weather. When you see someone walking, when you have caught the person that walked into your 90-year-old grandma's house and, did some unmentionable shit to her and beat her black and blue to the point of no recognition. When I say bare minimum an ass whooping, I mean bare minimum. Those are the people in my world you don't need to have a conversation with before you visit them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to talk to the dude that, sexually assaulted and beat the shit out of an 85-year-old grandma. We're not going to talk about it. Yeah. And I know that there's some people in the world that, don't have that in them. I have it in me. To beat the living daylights out of you for hurting a child or an elderly person. Trust me, I have no problems. I know, but I'm the same person that me and my friend were in, say we were in the bank together and some perpetrator came in and, he was like, well, one of you have to go, basically die. I'm going to tell him to take me because I don't have any kids. She's got 4 kids. And people were like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm telling you, I have no doubt I would do that. Because I'm not scared to death. I believe in God. I don't want to die, but you know what I mean? My mother's dead. I'll get to see my mom and my grandma. I don't have a death wish, but I don't fear it. And I would much rather her be able to be here to raise her children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because she has people in her life that need her to survive. I'd be like, I'm coming home. And then I'd probably make the person that was going to do it to me's life a living hell for the next, 10 seconds that I had. You know what I mean? I'd go out with a bang. You little pussy, you can't do nothing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Faith is it's a very good place to be. Because, when you think about, yes, God wins. Yes, God's got a plan. Yes, I know where the people I love are. I have no question where my grandparents and my mother is. Some of my aunts and my uncles are. I have no doubt where they're sitting. I have no doubt that there's a God. I do not believe a lot in a lot of the organized stuff that I see because I think it's been compromised. I do. I'm sorry. I don't believe a preacher should be an asshole to you because you ask a question. I believe that so many people have been turned away from faith because they've had legitimate questions. And then they get confronted with, well, why are you even asking those questions? You talk about faith. You don't even know. You should be blah, blah, blah. Shut up. And what was that a Christian to you? If you're an asshole to somebody that asked you a legitimate question, then you want people, turn away from it. Well, maybe it's because you were a dick. That's why I told you, Casey, and I will say it to my dying breath. Guys, and I will say to all of you that are still out there with us, your relationship with God is your relationship with God to have. And you can be on that road as long or as short as you need to be. And you talk to him like I'm sitting here talking to you right now. You don't need fancy words. You don't need a bunch of Jesus and the Jesus and the Jesus said that Jesus is the Jesus. I can't stand that shit, okay? I live in the Bible Belt. I'm telling you, nothing drives me. Jesus knows his name. He don't need to hear it 45 times for you to get the point. So just talk to him like I'm talking to y'all. But ask him straight up questions. And when he gives you an answer, even if especially if it's one you don't want to hear, don't be like, that was just my head. I don't want. Well, trust in that. That gut feeling to me is God talking to you. People dismiss their gut way too often nowadays. I believe that's God talking to you. Because sometimes it might not be what you want to hear. So, that's why it's important you to have that relationship with God. And I've told Casey this, whether you find peace in your relationship with God in a church because you found really good people that go to that church, or it's you go sit beside a river out in the clearing of the woods somewhere and listen to the birds chirp and the winds blows on a blanket, just laying back and just like living in some peace, talking to God. Whatever gives you that peace, and gives you that quiet in your life to talk to him and to feel close to him. There's no right or wrong way to be closer to God, to build a relationship with God. Don't let anybody tell you there is. I mean, to a certain degree, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying if you want to be a pedophile, by all means, God would love it. No, I'm not saying that. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's no forgiveness. That's the other point to emphasize. With you, Soko, there will be no forgiveness if you're going to be a pedophile.
I can't do it, dude. I've seen too much shit. Before we go, I don't even know if I could show you this, girl. I'm not even kidding. It might be too upsetting for you. But, yeah, I believe in that. Even so, again, if you've got a prison in your state, could go try to bring this back around. And this is happening, and they've allowed trans women in these women's prisons. I just would highly suggest to you guys to reach out. See what's going on in your state, because where's the Me Too movement?
Right.
I guess isn't it funny how people bail when the donations dry up, but I'm donate to Me Too. Then somehow they all buy houses, and then you don't hear anything else about them. The Me Too folks can go beat down the damn doors during the Kavanaugh hearing, and that's somehow not referred to as an insurrection. Isn't that fucking funny?
Yeah,
just little things. Just little things, Casey. Was there anything you wanted to talk about before we close it out?
No, I think we well covered what we were talking about today. There's still more that I have to learn as time goes on, but luckily we're going to be doing more shows.
Yeah. Like, I think that mass psychosis thing, I think y'all will enjoy. It's pretty crazy. But I mean, all of you know it. It's just a good way. It's kind of basically breaks down how they bull a frog. And that one guy does a really good job. I think it'd be like 20 minutes to kind of watch that, show that to you guys. You give a really good understanding. He draws pictures to the whole thing, writes it all out. It's very informative, and then have a conversation on. And then there's that article I sent you as well, and have a conversation on how they're doing it. So then that kind of, you beat them at their own game, as my grandmother used to say. It doesn't take a genius, guys, to know what we need to do. You beat them at their own game. hell, follow their rules. Look at their playbook and say, well, let's just swap that over to this team. You know what I mean? And, you know, do what you got to do. Thanks, Captain Kirk. Wang, dang, doodle. Wang, and dang, and doodle. Look, I like being verified. Look, I only got like 4 lemons and I got 11 in the damn treasure thing. Oh, release that. It ain't much, guys, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. None of them are foxhole. None of them are foxhole. I will, but yeah, I think that it's, I mean, I think, you know, these people got some lessons to learn. I think the more that they're so cute with this Pepe Le Pew. Uh-oh, Pepe Le Pew, it's racist. I mean, before you know it, girl, freaking Daffy Duck is going to be sexist or some shit. Miss Piggy, why is it Miss Piggy is offensive to transgender men? It should be just Piggy. Telling you guys, I showed y'all that little Muppets clip. When you can turn the Muppets into damn transgender, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if you saw that where I played that clip of the Muppets and the little boy Muppet on the baby Muppets, the little Muppets. It ain't okay in any of the Muppets, but this was the baby Muppets. A picture of the frog, the dude, or the whatever he is. I can't remember his name. He's the one with the big damn nose. Shit. Anyway, he's a boy, little boy. He's always been a little boy in the Muppets. Well, he went to a dance dressed up as a girl in a princess dress, and then come back and told all his friends when they said, "Oh, I wish she could have stuck around. She was awesome." He goes, "Well, I got something to tell y'all. That was really me." And then did a little magic spell, and he turned into a woman in a dress. I'm making this shit up. That's for little kids.
Wow.
That's the effing world you're living in. That's why I told you. That's why I pray to God all the time. I'm like, listen, God, you make the rules. You know, let hellfire rain down on some places. Just let us know. We'll run for cover. Yeah, Gonzo. Thank you, little Raven. Gonzo. That's who it was. Yep, Gonzo. All right. Well, with that, I guess next time we'll do mass psychosis. It's just a lovely bunch. Maybe one day we'll do Skittles and rainbows, but you know, we definitely need to do something on dogs and training dogs. And I know that might be only for people in certain crowds, but I know your history there and then mine as well. That's probably one of the sides I don't talk about as much, but yeah, that'd be a good thing to go over first one day too. I know you're very passionate about that subject, so that would be good in the future. All right, Casey, we'll say goodbye to everyone.
All right, goodbye, everyone. It was lovely being here with you all.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. If I work with the courage tomorrow night, I might actually show the deep, dark web thing I have. It's a couple hours long. It's a deep subject, man. And I'm just letting all y'all know I cannot show that anywhere but on Foxhole. So if you are not on Foxhole or Peeled, I highly suggest you get to Peeled or Foxhole if you have any interest in seeing any of that stuff I'm going to release about the deeper, darker shit with when it comes to these children, because that's the only safe place I feel to show it. Because it needs to be shared, it needs to be talked about again, and it doesn't need to leave people's minds that it's happening. But it's the only place I feel like I'm going to be able to do it, not have to sit over and sweat to death that somebody's going to, say some shit or going to be removed or banned or whatever. But so look for that. We'll see. Look, guys, it's heavy. It puts straight on me to think how much am I telling y'all too much. I also don't want to censor y'all from information. But it's a lot, man. It is. All right, with that joyful message, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday evening. And please sit back, buckle in, put your headrest up, and lay back and listen to some Tutti Frutti. We're out of here. Bye, everybody.
Bye.